Meanwhile, on Sunday, we have a big game coming. And obviously, we have the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But in women's basketball, we have the Super Duper Bowl because we have number 1 South Carolina versus number 3 LSU. And both teams are undefeated. Should be a lot of fun. I mean, to get 2 undefeated teams going at each other this late in the season is always cool. How do you see this one kind of playing out? And what do you make about Kim Mulkey's comments? She said about Dawn Staley this week, I have absolutely zero conflict with Dawn Staley. What I have for her is respect.
The conflict part, I think she might have been laying low a little on that because Kim pretty much has a conflict with everybody except maybe Bill Finley or maybe a couple other coaches.
Well, and I think even Bill's probably gotten on her list a time or two.
Yeah. Now that statement was in reference to, I think near the end of last season, Dawn Staley said, Nikki Fargas, the former LSU coach, did a really good job with that program. She just didn't have the support Kim had, since Kim has come in the last 2 years. And I kind of wonder how Kim took that comment. Probably not real well, considering the success she's had there. But yeah, as far as the game, I see South Carolina winning. They're playing at home. They've been there. They've been a really great program for a long time. But yeah, it should be interesting. I think neither of those two schools has really played a very tough schedule, though. I mean,
South Carolina infinitely more than LSU, though.
Yeah, they did beat Stanford earlier this year.
They beat UConn just this week, but
beat UConn, yeah. But you look at the SEC; it's pretty much those two teams.
That's correct.
It's not like the Big 12 where you got tough teams up and down the board. But yeah, it should be a great game, though.
So, I also wonder how much Kim's comments might have been in relation to the little verbal back and forth that Geno and Dawn got into this week. So I don't know if you saw any of that, but UConn did lose to South Carolina. And then UConn turned around and lost again. And it was their first 2-game losing streak in, I don't know, a lot of years, which is, again, a testament to just how consistent the Huskies have been.
They're clearly on the decline.
Well, and here's the funny thing, we talk about Baylor's struggles. We talk about, UConn losing 2 in a row. Well, UConn's not playing with Paige Beckers.
Right.
Baylor would be a little bit of a different team with Asia Blackwell and Dre Edwards in there, 2 SEC, all SEC front court players. So, to a certain extent, I think you got to cut these programs a little bit of slack. But now, after the game, the UConn South Carolina game, Geno talked about how physical South Carolina was, and he mentioned that one of their players had bruises all over her, and Dawn was not real happy with those comments, and just
not that bad.
took umbrage with it. And but one of the things I will say that's fun about Dawn Staley, Geno Auriemma, and Kim Mulkey is those three are not afraid to just say whatever the crap they want.
Right. Right. That makes things interesting.
Oh, it does. They're colorful. Like, Tara Vanderveer is probably more like close to the vest, and stuff. But those three are just going to say whatever they want. And so, yeah, it should be fun. I tend to agree with you on that South Carolina should win this game. Now, I think LSU is very good. I think Angel Reese, again, I've mentioned her name on the podcast before. is an incredible player. She's a transfer that they have just turned into a double machine for them at LSU. And LSU's riding high, but it's hard to know just how good they are because, as you said, the schedule that they've played this year is, I mean,
Right.
they've played one top 25 team. They've played that team in conference play. That means they played Bagel 0 in non-conference. And so they might get exposed. We'll see. Now, they might have all their chips in on this game and give the best effort that they've got all season. And can they give South Carolina a game? Yes. Can they beat South Carolina? Probably. But I'm with you. I think South Carolina playing at home with the experience they have, defending national champions, maybe a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Yeah. One more thing, we were talking about coaches saying stuff. I've got a little story for you. So last week, maybe last weekend, I'm spilling the tea here. I'm not sure I'm supposed to do this, but I guess Chip Gaines had a little party for Scott Drew for 20 years at Baylor and all he's done and all this. And it was I guess a private event or whatever, but I mean, I think there was a fair amount of people there. And one of the things they did was they had a video with other coaches around the country sharing their sentiment, their feelings about Scott, nice little warm fuzzy feelings. And I got shared a video privately that Geno Auriemma sent for Scott.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And the video starts off by saying he's sitting at his desk, just like this, and he's like, I got this call, and it came from Waco, Texas, and I was like, oh, this can't be good.
Right.
And so then he goes on to talk about how Scott, has done this amazing job in 20 years at Baylor, and he comes from a great basketball family, and talked about how he really watched Baylor's national championship run with great interest, a couple years ago. But at the end, he said, but really, Scott, your greatest achievement is lasting 20 years with Kim Mulkey. Zing!
Yeah, you're right about this.
I thought that was pretty funny. It did not get, first of all, it did not get put out on social media. Apparently, even at the event, they cut off the end of that so that part of it wasn't on there, so that any Kim Mulkey, diehards out there wouldn't lose their minds. But I think it's pretty friggin' funny.
Yeah, and you're like you said, those are coaches that speak their minds and they don't really care what people think.
Right. And Geno wouldn't have said it if he knew. I mean, he knew it was going to get out there with the world of social media now. It was going to get out there. So I'm not sure I was supposed to spill the tea, but I saw that video and I had a pretty good laugh. So.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So there you go. Scott Drew's greatest achievement.
It'd definitely be right up there.
Yeah, for sure. Put it on your resume, Scott.